Holy crap, these batteries are toasted. This is the worst I've ever seen one of these get. I put these batteries in October of '08. Could have swore it wasn't even that long. But they've leaked acid everywhere, and you can see even where the fuse is there on these two positive terminals is just I don't know, there's just acid leaking out of the top of both batteries, down the sides, out the bottom. She's a toasted. Starting to suspect that there's a charging circuit problem in this UPS because it seems like every time I put batteries in here, they don't last very long. And amazingly, there's apparently no damage to the board, but probably going to see if I can find my other one of these UPSs and clean that one up. Give that one a try when I replace the batteries, because I'm really not in the mood to troubleshoot one of these right now. But yeah, I got a puddle of acid on my bedroom floor too. It's great. Jeez, there's like puddles of acid in this thing. I have never seen batteries leak this bad. Not like this anyway. Usually it's like a paste, but this looks almost like capacitor electrolyte in a way. Pretty nasty stuff. I don't want to touch it. A friend of mine that moved this thing down here actually got some on his hands, and it wasn't fun. Alright, I got the circuit board out of this UPS. I decided to troubleshoot it after all, since there's not really that much involved in it. I found several bad capacitors on the board that were the TPO brand. They're known to be bad, actually. There's one there, a little tiny one, and one right here, one right here. And some of these bigger ones, like these up front here, are Matsushita Panasonic capacitors. Those are still good. I've been going through with my ESR meter and checking all these, and I know the big capacitors are good. I got a nice spark when I accidentally touched the battery cables together taking this thing apart, so that wasn't fun. So I'm hoping to get these handful of small caps replaced, and also the heatsink on this IC right here seems like it's not seated quite right. I'll straighten that out and put those new batteries in, and hopefully this thing will work better than it ever has. Might even be able to squeeze 4 years out of the batteries or so, because it's only been going for probably less than a year before it's been cooking the batteries every time, and that's probably why. Okay, I've got all the caps changed out. I used United Chemicon KY series capacitors and a couple of Panasonics. Got a Panasonic right there and a Panasonic over there. The last two caps up here that were Panasonic are still good. I left those alone, like I was saying. And also this IC here is an LM340 IC. The heatsink had been hit by I think when the batteries were being installed at some point, and it got bent over, and when I tried to straighten it, it broke off. So I ended up getting my parts unit one out and taking the parts off that. Also going to use the battery cables, because the battery cables for this one got a little damaged by the battery leakage. So I will get this one going too eventually, but it's just going to be the last one I do. I want to take care of this one first. And this also has a little bit newer microcontroller revision. This is a revision T, and the other one's a revision Q. So I noticed that the transistor that turns the fan on and off actually discolored the board. It got pretty warm from being repeatedly turned on and off. This thing was behaving erratically, and the cooling fan would go on and off sometimes 2 or 3 times a second, which is really not supposed to do that. It's supposed to come on while it's charging or running on batteries, and then shut back off when it's fully charged and idle. I think it also comes on when it's under a high load, but it's never been under more than 30% load or so. So just so many cycles it actually heated that transistor up. But anyway, I'm going to try to put this back in the upper housing there. I got a little bit more battery acid residue I need to take care of, and I'll stick it back in there, and maybe I can start hooking things up again. Alright, got her all back together. Don't have the bottom housing up here yet because it's still full of acid. I'll do that last after I test it. Charging float voltage is 27.68, which works out to about 2.3 volts per cell. Should be right in spec for an AGM battery. Don't even have it turned on yet. I've got the enable switch on. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna have to recalibrate this whole doggone thing. So far it seems to be running normally. Alright. Apply my load. So we're running about 50 to 60%. Should be a little over 50% actually. Got 3 out of the 6 load indicators lit. This is a 950 watt UPS and it's got a 500 watt load connected, so right about ideal. I need to get a power strip out before I can actually do the calibration. I actually did a video a while back doing the calibration procedure on one of these exact UPSs. It wasn't this very one, but it was the same model. It was one of the ones for my server rack. So I don't know if I want to bother showing the procedure for that or not. It looks like it's showing the battery's out of calibration, of course. So let me get a power strip. Okay, let's see what happens with a 50% load running on battery power. I want to see what it drops down to while it's draining, and then I'm going to watch and see what the actual charging voltage is. I've got my load connected, and I'm going to go here, turn this power strip off, and cut the AC. This thing's going to beep like crazy for a while until it runs completely dead. And once it turns back on and starts recharging, it'll be calibrated. Or I should say after it's done charging anyway, but you get the idea. Wow. 24.1 volts at a 50% load, not bad. Good current capacity in those batteries. And now my camera battery's dying on me. Figures. Going on almost 20 minutes here, and batteries are down to 23 volts. Still showing full on the bar graph there. Of course that's not accurate. You can actually hear the duty cycle going up on the inverter as the battery voltage drops. This is by far the longest runtime I've seen on one of these so far. These must be some strong batteries. Let's see, I started this at 9:45. It's 10:04. Yeah, I'm 19 minutes right now. Pretty much 20, because I think it was just a little bit before 9:45. 23 volts even on the batteries. We'll find out what voltage this trips into low battery mode. And I think the low battery warning is about 2 minutes. You can also set it for 5 minutes with the dip switch. I'm pretty sure it's set on 2 right now. I'll keep an eye on it. Look at it drop. It's really getting down there. It should die any second now. The fan's even slowing down. The light ain't no dimmer though. Holy crap. Die already. And it pulls more amperage the lower the voltage goes. Whoop. Yeah, it dropped out about 18 and a half, 19 volts. Wow. So I got 28 minutes of runtime at 500 watts. That's I think that's better than I've ever had on one of these. So I'm going to watch this charging voltage and see what it goes up to. Speaking of which, I wonder why the fan's not running yet. Yeah, you know what helps to make it charge? Turn the power back on. It's been a long day. Alright. $23.5. I'm going to keep an eye on this quick charge voltage, make sure it doesn't get too high. I think it's going to work okay now that those caps are replaced and got some good batteries. And the cool thing is, even at 500 watts and almost a half an hour of runtime, everything is still cool to the touch. So these things are actually pretty over-engineered. They don't get hot or anything when they're running, even at decent load. It's pretty neat. Probably gonna be quite a while before this thing's charged back up. Well, here we are the next day, all charged up. Float voltage is right at 27.65, which works out to 2.304 volts per cell. Should be right in spec for these. And hopefully it'll work better this time around. I guess I won't know until a couple months down the road. But can only give it a shot. I'm going to get this all put back together and get it hooked back up on my computer upstairs. Damn acid is in the vents and everything. I hate cleaning this stuff up. Yummy. Holy crap. Hear all that yummy sizzle. Wow. Nasty. It's still going over here. Oops, missed a bunch. Let it bubble its way out, and then I gotta clean this doggone thing up inside and out. Put everything back in. Hopefully this time it'll work. The one thing I really hate about putting these back together, it's like impossible to figure out how to orient the battery terminals so that the wires don't hit any components, because the battery cable, the batteries are like right up against these heat sinks, and if you get the wires facing the wrong way, they won't clear these heat sinks and blah blah blah. So also got to insulate the terminals with some tape per the instructions from APC. So maybe I'll actually be able to get the cover on this doggone thing if I do this right. Well, it's been almost a week now, and so far so good. No odd behavior anymore. Running nice and cool, not making any funny noises. So hopefully I'm good to go. I know this video was a little long-winded and kind of boring, but I figured I'd make a little journal of it, if anything.